When I first encountered Michael Jackson's black or white music video a decade after its premiere, I was utterly captivated by a mere 50-second segment. At that time, I didn't know what it was called. I just found it magical. Later, I learned the visual effects used to morph faces into one another had previously been used only in a couple of films, underscoring its expense and complexity at that time. And it was just called Morphing visual effect. Back then, I was studying film at Beijing Film Academy. I knew very well that a similar effect could be achieved using a simple dissolve, which saves time, human resources, and budget. This leads one to ponder, why did someone invest considerably to manifest this morphing stuff? Was this an ostentatious display of the technical prowess of American movie industry? I employed ostentatious deliberately here because the film aesthetics education I received at Beijing Film Academy was generally anti-Hollywood narrative structure and technical stacking. We incessantly discuss French Impressionism, Surrealism, New Wave, Bazin, Italian Neorealism, Fellini, unfaltering flag of Spanish cinema, Almodovar, day and night focusing on ideology, culture, politics, and even literature. The consequence of this contrast is that 20 years ago, those of us who received this kind of education formed the idea in our mind that we should admire the profound. Only by making movies that audience couldn't understand could we demonstrate our professional value. Our study mode was mostly limited to written materials. Even the numerous films we watched were treated as textual materials. I don't deny the textual value of films, nor do I dismiss scholars who diligently delve into ideology, culture, politics, and literature in films. I'm simply emphasizing that we've never had the opportunity to participate in the actual production of a theatrical film, even if just a small part of it. This presents a problem post-graduation. The chasm between academic indoctrination and the pragmatic exigencies of the film industry became glaringly evident. However, some classmates were able to thrive in the film industry right after graduation. Looking back, these few people didn't really study at the Film Academy. They were hardly ever seen in class or even during exams. Always busy trying to find real-world film truths. They didn't neglect the academic materials, but instead learned through constant hands-on experience, embodying the adage that true mastery arises from immersion, a completely different learning environment. This made me feel the shock of transitioning from school to society for the first time, and I faintly realized that the essence of truly effective learning methods. The situation for me improved a bit when I went to the UK to pursue a master's degree in broadcast and film management. We had more group discussions, we had more project-based tasks and presentations. We even visited BBC, Southampton, and a film set of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. While there, I remember the classmates from Beijing Film Academy whom I rarely saw in class. If they were to come to the film set of Charlie and Chocolate Factory, they would certainly understand everything better than I did and would gain more. After 20 years of subsequent learning, practice, and teaching, the continuous reinforcement of concepts made my realization no longer vague. When I visited the eastern United States this summer to scout schools for my children, I discovered through visiting over 30 American schools that the more prestigious the institution, the more they emphasize immersive hands-on learning experiences. Returning to Michael Jackson's black or white music video, achieving a similar effect using superimposition is essentially still like textbook teaching materials. It is like several pictures stacked together from a textbook, while using the morphing visual effect is like witnessing the entire process of embryonic development. In 2008, when I discovered the transition effect magic move in the slideshow software Keynote, I immediately recalled what I had seen in Michael Jackson's black or white music video, the morphing visual effect. I realized that although it can't achieve the face transition effect, its essence is the same. Elements before and after the change are presented again with natural transitions in position, size, angle, opacity, and even color. And the differences between the two are supplemented with fade-ins and fade-outs. A few years later, this transition effect was also added to Microsoft's PowerPoint named Morph. Here, from the difference in these names, I feel the responsibility of a product manager to make it easier for users to understand and to get started. To the general public, Magic Moo is more understandable than Morph. This reminds me of myself pretending to be profound more than 20 years ago. It also made me understand why Steve Jobs claimed he was a product manager, as well as what he was dedicated to doing, enabling people to have immersive experiences, paying attention to details, and solving problems. My 2-year-old daughter can use the iPad freely without anyone teaching her. Her brother was the same way when he was 2, which led us to strictly limited their use of the iPad. When I was a product manager at Smartisan Technologies, a once competitive Chinese mobile phone company, I frequently used Keynote for interaction design, like for a clock switching animation. The transition between two interfaces was just done using Morph, nothing else. Yet it was a design that users found unforgettable and always wanted to fiddle with. It wasn't just about Morph. When making slideshows for Smartisan's numerous product launches facing tens of thousands of live audience and tens of millions of online viewers, I deeply understand how to capture the audience's attention. Whether it's through literature, storyboard, shot type, camera movement, editing, or the juxtaposition of image and text, few people truly understand the fact that the primary purpose of slideshow creation should not be enhance the production efficiency for the creator, but to improve the communication efficiency between slideshow user and audience. A slideshow's quality is solely judged by the audience's visual experiences. At first glance, whether a slideshow appears rich and colorful is entirely different from the feeling it brings to the audience when gradually presented in conjunction with a speech. The former is based on the spatial thinking, while the latter, the correct way, is based on temporal thinking. Indeed, the juxtaposition is in a movie's sound-picture relationship is the soul of a film-level slideshow. In my 10 years of teaching slideshow creation, I've continuously iterated the curriculum from text-based principle guidance to posing questions, adding community interaction, analyzing case study, project-based learning, game-like immersive one-on-one guidance. My sole purpose is to allow learners to gain enough self-awareness, make mistakes, make comparisons, and truly experience the real-world feel of directing their own skill learning. When the extremely positive market feedback and the original academic value recognized by the industry pushed my slideshow creation teaching to a certain height, I immediately quit the full-time product manager job and established Marcus Labs. My main reason for doing this was that my first child was born that year, and I needed more time to be with my child. I did my best to let him experience an immersive fatherhood and provide him with a learning environment that is hard to create in China's educational context, but which I could create for him. Up to now, my second child, also 3 years old, led by myself or together with professionals from various fields who share the same teaching philosophy, Marcus Labs launched teaching content on English learning, fingerstyle guitar, video production, photography, and even cooking. Marcus Labs never engage in informational teaching and never linger on the text. I published a book called Sleight of Hand, emphasizing based on my 20 years of self-learning, practice, and teaching, the importance of immersive hands-on experience of mastering skills, and most importantly, the concept. Today, the rapid evolution of technology has ignited in me a deeper sense of mission to provide learners with more immersive learning experience. Relatedly and surprisingly, my child's violin teacher, the first prize winner of the 12th International Tchaikovsky Violin Competition, emphasizes technique in his exquisite performance. The performance of the violin ultimately depends on aesthetics, and playing technique is the key to achieving beauty. The advancement of technique directly leads to an enhancement of aesthetic appeal. He believes that only through technique can beauty be achieved. To experience what he meant, Starting from scratch, have practiced the violin for 3 years. I've also learned to play the piano from scratch for a year, and I'm still practicing now. It's not a waste of time or with my mind wandering. I have already been able to deeply appreciate the joy from the advancement of techniques that I never felt before when enjoying music. This has prompted me to look forward even more firmly to overcoming the bottlenecks I encountered in teaching with the evolution of technology. As I tirelessly sought to move away from the text and directly immerse myself in genuine sensory experiences, focusing on first-hand practices, by 2023, I firmly believe in the tremendous value of AI and VR/AR in education, and the form is game. I started getting to know 3D graphics and animation, Unity, Unreal Engine, TensorFlow, Python, and C# in my usual manner. 30 years ago, the morphing visual effects in a black or white music video were groundbreaking, but today anyone can easily achieve them even with a mobile phone. The advancement of technology has pushed us to ponder when everyone can create morphing visual effects for face changing. Besides gaining likes on social media, leaders should use accumulated humanities knowledge and philosophical thinking to further guide humanity towards meaningful immersion. My first conceived project is to let children immerse themselves in experiencing actively getting to know new friends and children's social etiquette. Such a concept is essential, yet cannot be taught conventionally in reality due to the feeling of unfamiliarity and a sense of danger in the environment. In my 9 years of experience as a father, I've found that, even if not for all children, teaching many children verbally or by example how to make new friends and how to interact well under social etiquette is challenging. I will organically integrate the film concepts, visualization techniques, teaching experience, and focus on children I've mastered, combined with AI and VR/AR technology to realize this game. I profoundly understand, as presented in this video, that I've spared no effort to craft an immersive sensory experience for you, utilizing storytelling of experiences, the visual logic of slideshows, the language of cinema, spatial and temporal thinking, and even sound effects. My goal is to achieve the utmost realism, which is already the pinnacle of voiceover video formats. At its core, I'm still relying on text. However, my ultimate objective is for me to completely disappear without even leaving a trace of my voice. Reflecting on a Chinese cultural analogy which likens teachers to candles, there's a poem that says the candle turns to ash, symbolizing teachers who burn themselves to illuminate others. Thus, in the final analysis, the ideal situation is for me not to be present at all. How to make myself completely disappear is what I need to learn, and it's the pursuit of my entire life.